Tomazzi Entertainment.
Hello everybody, this is Dylan.
This is Mike.
And we're here to review Skyscraper starring The Rock and Neve Campbell. Skyscraper is about The Rock, who's hired to protect a building, basically to check to see if it's safe for fire regulations and this and that. And
security guard.
Basically a security guard in a way, yeah. And then terrorists take over this tower with his family inside, and he has to get them out. That's basically the plot of the movie.
Yeah. And that's pretty much just like any other
terrorist
movie, yeah,
I've ever heard of before. Yeah, okay. So, what did you think of this movie?
It was just like another Dwayne Johnson focused movie, really.
Okay, and
that's really all I've got. It's just another Dwayne Johnson movie. He's just like the main star of it, and just really an action movie, like what he did with Fast and Furious. Like he just took it over and became like the main focus of it. It felt more like even The Rundown in a way. Like he was just constantly going at somebody and maintaining that focus, really.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to say that I didn't like the movie. I didn't like the movie really at all. I thought it was pretty much Die Hard, but just not as good.
Yeah.
Die Hard's a way better film, but this movie copies it almost to the T. Just caring about The Rock wanting to do this stuff is hard, right? Because the whole thing's about his family being kidnapped, and even that I didn't like. It's just Die Hard. Oh, the family, right? And then even then, the wife, they changed her character enough so she's kind of a badass. Her wife knows Chinese, and his wife knows karate and all this stuff. I don't know. Everything about it just made me feel like, oh well, we can't represent women as so helpless anymore. We have to be kind of like their own cool character. And I like The Rock. I think he's a good actor, but in this movie, he was just kind of boring and plain, and you know what I mean. And even though he's beating everybody up, it just felt so unrealistic. You know, some of the scenes of that movie, I was just kind of like laughing because they're just unbelievable. How does the physics even work for some of those scenes? You know what I mean? Like for her, you know, for instance, she has to cross the board. So she has to cross with a plank. And it's the littlest thing in the world. She has a child on her back, and she's like this, and she falls, and she grabs onto the plank like this. Now, gravity is going to make it so the plank goes like this. There is no holding it in place. Like, it bothered me. Even if you would either snap or it would just roll and she would just fall right down. Like, it was unrealistic. But this movie's full of these scenes that are just so unrealistic.
Yep.
And I just couldn't handle it. Like him doing that leap of faith. Like that was a cool scene, I'll admit. The skyscraper part where he jumps is a cool scene, but it's just so unrealistic, and it blows my mind that the directors actually stood there and said, hey, that looks real.
Yeah, you do have a point there. The physics behind it, yeah, none of that made sense whatsoever. It's like that part of the world just defied all physics.
Yeah, just everything involving gravity, wind, and fire are probably the most unrealistic things I've ever seen in this movie ever, in any film.
The only thing that I did catch that they got right was the whole starting the fire. There is an actual chemical compound that actually will start igniting as soon as water sprays on it. There is a chemical compound out there. What about the sound effects, really?
The sound effects were great, and it sounded great. The sounds were nice, but I would have to say that the music was another thing that disappointed me. It just wasn't dramatic enough.
Did you even hear music?
I heard music, especially when he was going up. It kind of had this, but it was light. You know what I mean? Like it should have been more intense. Like it really should have grabbed you, but it didn't.
I didn't really hear any music.
See, that's the problem. You didn't hear it. It was so low. All you could hear is The Rock breathing and the fire and the people. And that's another thing I want to mention too. I've never seen a movie that had the audience so involved with what's going on. You know, in the crowd. Like every time he goes outside that window, he has 1,000 people with cameras on him he's 1 billion miles in the air. You would never be able to see him. But they're all acting like he's like 20 feet away, and they're just like, ah, like that.
Well, it's because they were watching the big jumbotron. Which I'm curious why they even have that damn thing on.
Yeah.
Like, this is supposed to be a secluded and...
Exactly,
like,
that's what I mean though. It's just everything convenient. Whenever he steps out that door, just so everyone, even his wife, can go, oh my god, and then it kind of shows like what a hero. But I kept thinking to myself, that's so fake. Like they did that in Die Hard, but in Die Hard's way more realistic because they can barely see it.
Well, actually, throwing back this in, we did actually catch a couple people who had the prosthetic legs and arms in the actual theater here, and this really brings out like support of them, like what they have to struggle through every day, just like even putting that thing on. Like it did show premises of that, and I did actually quite enjoy that part.
You don't have too many characters out there that have like some type of handicap.
Prosthetic, yeah.
That prevents them from doing something like this. You know, I'm sure it's encouraging.
Yeah.
But even that gentleman that you're mentioning, he was yawning like a lot when he was walking out of this movie. He was bored.
Yeah.
It felt like also that prosthetic is another thing that I didn't like either, is because it's not that I
You could notice it.
not that I could notice it. It's just that half the time the character didn't even notice it. You know, if it wasn't used for something, he walked normal. He did stuff normal. You know what I mean? And that's like, that kind of bothered me a bit. Like, you know, when you need to know it's there, he does this limp. But when he does anything action, it's almost like he's perfect.
Yeah.
That bothered me a bit.
That also did bother me when he was putting on his leg, and then after the shot where he has his pants on and he's looking pristine, you can actually see his thigh just turn from like this, like literally nothing floating there, and then just boom.
Yep.
It just instantly popped. Like,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
shoot, that's his actual thigh now. What would you rate it?
If I had to rate this, I would rate it a 4.
Wow, it's pretty low.
Well, I didn't really enjoy this movie. I thought it was, all I could think of was Die Hard, and every scene that they were ripping off. And then they rip off a scene from Jurassic Park when they're flying in the helicopter, and the Chinese guy's all sad that his vision didn't work out. He's kind of looking at the thing, and he's just like, oh, it's like, what a Jurassic Park scene. And then it goes right back to Die Hard. You?
Well, I gotta say, I'm gonna also rate it low. It's because it felt like a 5. Like, it just ripped off too many movies. Like, as you said, Die Hard, Jurassic Park. I just felt like it would just look like the rundown.
Yeah, it's basically what we think.
All right.
Thanks for watching, everybody. YouTube channel, Dylan Tomazzi. You know, we have Edmonton by the Mic. Check that out, too. We also have other great things coming up very soon, so please stay tuned.
Also, check out our Facebook as well. We always try to post even certain videos on there that we can't post on YouTube.
Yeah, we've been trying to like share back and forth, and
Yeah.
all older videos eventually go to Facebook and such. So if you want to check out my Facebook's in the description, you can click on that as well, and Twitter too.
All right.
All right. Yeah.